Make your booty talk. Make your booty talk. Mama, make your booty talk.
Let me see you make your booty talk. Booty talk.
Y'all hyped this season up. I ain't never seen this season before and was interested, mainly because you all kept referring to some song called Booty Talk by somebody named Drewski and the two Ashleys. One of those Ashleys got on my nerves, okay? This was a fun season though. Lots of arguments, funny moments, hookups, and memorable lines. Now, you already know how we do it, so all I'm going to say is, while watching this season, I noticed some things. Now it's time to talk about it, so let's get into it. This season starts off with us meeting the cast. First, we meet Siobhan. Siobhan was from College Park, attended Clark Atlanta University, and majored in fashion merchandising. Anthony was from New Jersey. He attended Clark also and majored in mass media arts. He had a girlfriend, but she isn't shown or heard throughout the show. Siobhan and Anthony meet first. Siobhan was attracted to Anthony, but Anthony thought she was a bit extra. Siobhan, she was a yapper. I loved her ATL accent, by the way. Next, we meet Ashley R. She was from Lithonia, I might not be saying it right, forgive me, and attended Georgia State University where she majored in marketing. She was also a professional model and in a relationship. We meet Drew, or Drewski, real name Andrew. Drew attended college online and was a marketing major. He was also an aspiring rapper.
Can you smell that? Can you smell that?
Ashley and Drew meet each other first before they meet Siobhan and Anthony on the bus. Ashley thinks Siobhan is loud. Siobhan was loud and country, and for some people, it takes some getting used to. We meet Dennis, who is from South Carolina. He attends Morehouse and is a psychology major. He is also a hip-hop dancer. We meet Sarah, who is from West Africa. She attends Georgia State University. She and Dennis meet before joining the other roommates on the bus. Turns out Sarah and Siobhan know each other already. Siobhan mentioned they weren't the best of friends, and this explains Sarah trying to act like she didn't know her at first. Drew likes what he sees on the bus, so he's already plotting on who he'll hook up with. The girls pick up on the fellas choosing, and they are all on one accord. They are not giving these guys an ounce of hope. We meet Dorian, who is from Texas and attended Clark Atlanta University. He was a math major, and is it me or did Dorian favor Miguel here? Just a little bit. We also meet Ashley L. Yes, there are two Ashleys this season. She was from Georgia and attended Georgia State University. She was a business management major and a go-go dancer. Ashley L. and Dorian already knew each other because they modeled together previously. Drew wasted no time rapping for everybody. He was trying to get that deal on the first day. When Dorian got on the bus, Drew immediately thought he was gay, and he was bothered for some odd reason.
First thing I see is Dorian. Now I'm thinking, he look a little sweet to me.
And even if he was, what does that have to do with anyone? Yet and still, Drew continues.
I'm quiet now because I'm thinking, please don't put me in a room with the gay dude.
The roommates get to the house, and of course, they are super excited to pick out their rooms. This go round, the roommates have assigned rooms. Drew immediately gets worried that he'll have to room with Dorian, and he was worried for good reason, I guess, because Dorian was his roommate. This house has its own boom boom room. They even planted this freak kit full of edible oils, whipped cream, sprinkles, coupons, massagers, and all the good stuff. The producers were definitely setting them up for failure and setting themselves up for great footage. The roommates celebrate their first night at the house by going to the club. The guys were loving the attention they were getting. Drew, in particular, was ready for something new.
I do keep multiple females around me at all times because it's nothing better than new.
When they get back home, Drew sets his sights on Ashley L. Child, these two got on my nerves this entire season. If you haven't watched this season, you'll see what I mean in just a few. Drew gets upset about Dorian walking around their room in his underwear, and then he notices Dorian's modeling pic on the wall.
At this point, I'm thinking, this dude is gay. Gay, gay, gay.
I guess we're off to a good start. It's the first morning in the house, and of course, everyone has to get used to everyone's schedules. Ashley R complains to Anthony about all the noise he makes, and Anthony gets mad because she confronted him instead of Siobhan, who made most of the noise. Drew was still being cringe. He was so bothered by Dorian's model pic that he called Anthony into their room to see it for himself. Dorian overhears them talking about his picture, but he's unbothered at this point. Drew, Anthony, and Dennis go out to eat and discuss who they'll hook up with in the house. Dennis suspects that Drew and Ashley L will hook up. Child, everything but. But this conversation made it back to the girls, who reject the thought of that even happening. They weren't interested at all.
They're gonna find themselves trying to plot, trying to scheme, trying to come out of us, and when they get shot down and denied, they're gonna look stupid.
Drew is He's still talking about Dorian walking around in his drawers. He's really worried about that. Ashley L calls him out for being homophobic.
They invest too much time in trying to figure out whether he's gay or not. So in order to get that out, you have to ask him instead of you just hardcore saying, hey, he's gay.
But even if he is, what does that have to do with you, my boy? Drew calls a meeting with the guys in the house. Now, this wasn't a meeting, more like a confrontation. Drew wanted to confirm if Dorian was gay. What really pissed me off about this whole situation was when he did this.
Shawty, you cool. You a nice dude, but I just gotta know, homie.
And I'm like, gotta know what? And he was like, I just gotta know. I knew exactly what he was talking about when he said that.
See, what you're not about to do is question this man's sexuality, which is his business. Then you had the audacity to call a meeting, but now you want to get shy when it's time to ask a question. I would have sat there until he asked me the question. I'm not guessing anything, and I'm not feeding you words. You need to open your mouth and ask me. Speak up. The hell? Drew was doing way too much. The roommates, well, everyone but Dorian played hide and go get it. It was a bit too childish for his taste. Ashley R was up first to find everyone. As she finds each roommate, she sprays them with baby powder. This turns into a good fight. Drew gets a little rough with Ashley R. He has her in a headlock for a hot second before she has to bite him to break free. Now he was complaining to everybody.
It wasn't that bad. And for you to be this hardcore rapper that you say you are, why are you crying? Just put it in a song and just get mad at her.
The guys band together and plan to get the girls when they're asleep. Ashley R's boyfriend comes to the house. They hang out in the hot tub with Ashley L. Drew makes his way to the hot tub to try and flirt with Ashley, but let her tell it she wasn't interested and pretends to be sleepy. But Drew didn't care about that because he picked her up and slid her on his lap. This wasn't the move.
Maybe I thought you was cute. Maybe I just wanted to see what was up. Like, maybe I don't got else to do in the house.
So basically you're saying that you're touching me because you ain't got else to do.
Every time Drew and Ashley were in the same room, an argument started. This argument was about how Drew only wanted sex from women and how he didn't respect himself. Drew tells Ashley that she's sending him mixed signals.
You know what? I'm tired of trying to be nice to these females.
There's still tension between Ashley and Drew. Drew was still mad at her for putting him on the spot, sort of like what he did with Dorian. I'm just saying. All the guys feel that Ashley L is playing mind games with Drew and that deep down, she wants him. Plus, he kind of set the tone with the whole new comment. And he keeps it going when he decides to invite some more girls to the house since the roommates weren't giving him any play. Meanwhile, Dorian shares a song from childhood with Siobhan. Since he didn't know the meaning of the song, it was in a different language. He asks Sarah if she recognized the words. Sarah tells him that there are many languages spoken in Africa and she only knows 3. Dorian considers himself African American, while Ashley L considers herself Black American.
So it's kind of, hard to say I'm African American because America is all that I know.
Sarah quizzes Ashley on where her family is from. All her family, all the way down to her great-great-great-grandmother, were from Savannah, Georgia. But Sarah dismissed this fact by saying eventually her lineage goes back to Africa, as if to say her American roots didn't matter.
Parents are from Savannah, Georgia, right? And their parents are from where?
Savannah.
And their parents are from where?
Savannah.
But eventually you trace that back to where?
This conversation makes Sarah think about her family and the sacrifices they made for her. Ashley R. could relate to this. Anthony invites some friends and a few ladies over to the house. Tell me why 2 carloads of people showed up. Ashley R. didn't like Anthony's friends at all, and Dorian couldn't focus on his classwork while they were there. Anthony, the other guy roommates, and their guests go to the Boom Boom room to try and get some freaky games started. But some of the company traveled all throughout the house, even in the roommates' personal bedrooms and bathrooms. Ashley didn't want any of their stuff going missing, so she told the guys to get their friends out of their personal space. Drew gets upset at Ashley, thinking that she and the rest of the girls were hating on him. He doesn't get how rude it is for your guests to be all over the house and in people's personal space. Like, why are they in random bathrooms and bedrooms?
I knew that it was gonna be some issues if we had some women come to the house, because that's just how women are.
And maybe she wasn't quick enough, because one of Anthony's guests clogged the toilet.
One of the girls on my promotion squad that was in the Boom Boom room supposedly left a load in the toilet.
The guys decided it would be funny to turn off the girls' alarm clock, causing Sarah to oversleep and almost miss class. Ashley R. learned that the guys turned off their alarms. Now she was pissed because they were being petty due to the girls not giving them the attention they desired.
At first, when we started talking about this, was being able to be in a house with other guys and not feel temptation to do this and that, and tempted to do what with who?
And if the alarms weren't enough, Anthony planned to bring exotic dancers to the house. Of course, the girls were not pleased.
Strippers? What? These guys don't have no money. They can't even afford a 2-piece and a biscuit. Why they think they can afford some strippers?
Tell me why these guys spent half of their grocery budget making it rain on the dancers. And it was the budget for the entire house.
Every time they threw $1, I'm thinking shrimp. $2, I'm thinking lobster. $3, I'm thinking steaks. I'm like, God, these girls eating all our money.
After the strippers left, the roommates decided to hit up the club. The girls get back at the guys for the alarm and the dancers by taking forever to get ready. And to add to this, they finally get dressed and arrive at the club, only to realize they left their IDs at home. So instead of hitting the club like they'd planned, they go out to eat. After the girls took forever to get ready and then left their IDs at home, the guys were pissed, so they all start bickering with each other. Out of the blue, Drew throws tampons on the table, which only made things worse, and Dorian was over it.
I'm in a van and people are screaming over me, yelling, acting like just ghetto trash. I can't believe what I'm witnessing right now, and I'm just fed up with it.
The bickering continues when they get home, and things aren't better the next day either. The girls go get their nails done, and the guys go out to lunch. For some reason, the guys think the girls are pissed because they want them, and the guys aren't giving them any attention. Child, that is not it. When they returned home, Anthony had the nerve to demand an apology, which he didn't get.
If their attitude doesn't change, something's got to give, and it's not going to be me.
It was time for a group activity. The roommates were going camping, and everyone was excited, except for Dorian.
And I'm like, oh, I have to spend more time with these people outside of the house.
Dorian was just too cool for the others, I guess. In true College Hill fashion, there were rodents, fake ones. Ashley and Anthony found them under the sink, so they decided to scare each of the roommates with them. We fast forward to the roommates arriving at the campgrounds. They were warned that bears were nearby, so they were more than nervous. After they get settled, they go to a nearby restaurant to get a bite to eat. Mind you, they were the only Black people in the restaurant at the campsite period, and they were very aware they were not welcomed. The girls go to a more secluded area to talk. The Ashleys and Siobhan discuss love and relationships. Siobhan feels like she hasn't been taken seriously in her relationships and feels down about it. Dennis gives Siobhan advice about being patient and that her time will come. He reveals that his adopted parents didn't support his dancing ambitions initially, but they eventually came around. Siobhan revealed that her mother was a hard worker and barely home, which led to her being cared for by different people. She also revealed that she hated going to church because she was taken advantage of there. Listen, a lot of people use religion to do the devil's work. They will go to every service, know every verse. They may even lead. They can even be the pastor. Child, I could write a book. But anyway, the roommates gather around Siobhan and offer her their support.
We all knew that, this was gonna bring us together, but we didn't know it was gonna be this deep, and it's just something different for me. I'm learning different things about myself already.
To raise everyone's mood, Anthony suggests that they play a questions game. We learned that they think that Ashley L. and Dennis would hook up. If something came up missing, Anthony would be the first suspect. Anthony would remove Sarah from the house because she was too tempting. Dorian would kill all the roommates if he had to make a choice. That tracks. And Dennis would like for the roommates to be lifelong friends. As they continue to play the game, they hear gunshots in the distance and everyone gets scared. They run and hide in their tents, believing that it was an intimidation tactic to get them to leave. The roommates felt the bad vibe at the restaurant, and it seemed that that bad vibe followed them to their campsite. We go back to the roommates hiding out in their tents. The shooting doesn't stop. In fact, it gets closer and the shots are back to back. The roommates move to the camp bathrooms to hide out. When Drew steps out of the bathrooms, he overhears the shooter tell the campsite manager that as long as the roommates don't start anything with him, he won't start with them. Sir, you are literally shooting your gun at a campsite to intimidate these kids who don't even know you, have never met you. You have started this drama. You are the drama. You are the threat. The hell? The guy drives away from the site, but not far enough to no longer be a threat. I'm not sure who planned this camp activity, but they didn't do their research at all. Luckily, the group didn't stay. Instead, everyone decided to abort mission and go home. Great choice. Even though the camping portion of this trip didn't work out, the roommates still go whitewater rafting. The guys and girls are grouped separately. The girls do well, but the guys... Dorian and Dennis fell out of the raft, and instead of Dorian simply standing up, he had a full-blown meltdown. In his defense, he probably was too in the moment to remember that the water wasn't deep. The roommates arrived back at the house. Anthony wanted to go to a club while Ashley L. wanted to go dancing. Of course, this turns into an argument, a very loud and disrespectful one at that.
The job is a joke. That's what's a joke.
My job is a joke. First of all, I'm not the one who throws parties and still have to work at Red Lobster to pay my bills.
How did a simple disagreement about where you all were going to go turn into Ashley throwing low blows? And she always did this. It could be something mild, and she would always take it straight to hell. She goes on about how Anthony wanted to throw parties, but he doesn't have any money because he works at Red Lobster. And Anthony said that she was insecure. Drew was annoyed too because he just wanted her to shut the hell up. Eventually, Ashley goes to her room to cool off. She calls Dorian and Siobhan in to get their opinion on if she went too far.
Ashley L was definitely at fault to some extent because some stuff she didn't have to say. When you say something about a guy and he broke and stuff, he gonna get at you. And I don't blame him.
They tell her that she needs to apologize, so she does, and Anthony accepts to her face.
I accept Ashley L's apology, but I'm not gonna forget it. I personally think she's apologizing because somebody else put her up to it.
Drew was still taking his rap dreams very seriously, often rapping for his imaginary fans. And this is where we are introduced to the most annoying yet infamous song in College Hill history.
Make your booty tall, make your booty tall, mama make your booty tall.
Let me see you make your booty tall, booty tall. Drew is like the Dr. Seuss of rappers.
Again, he was really trying to get that deal. Drew links up with Dennis to create a song. The song was called Wind It Up. To me, it kind of had the same feel as Walk It Out or any type of dance song that came out during the mid-2000s. It was a cute bop. And Dennis did the song justice. After recording their song, Dennis and Drew let the roommates hear it, and they love it. The roommates prefer Dennis's verse, and I can't lie, Dennis slick took over the song. He really did his thing. But as everyone is listening to the song, Ashley is in her feelings because she felt like the roommates didn't support her as much as they support Dennis and Drew. She carries these feelings to the club, and when Dennis asks her what's wrong, she lashes out at him for being concerned, which pisses Dennis off.
She just be wanting my attention 24/7. That just not happening. She's nothing but a little drama queen.
She continues to carry her sour feelings back home from the club, and now she wasn't talking to anyone. Sarah mentioned how anytime Ashley L didn't get her way, she got in her feelings.
I don't want anybody to talk to me if they don't want to talk to me. I want people to like me, but I'm not going to go out of my way to make people like me.
Ashley wanted everyone to like her, but she felt that sometimes they didn't pay attention to her unless she initiated the conversation, or they noticed that she was not engaging with them. And Sarah gives her take.
Ashley L is used to having me all to herself, and she's used to me giving her all of my attention, and now she's not getting that.
Ashley L invites some of her friends over to vent, and while they're there hanging out in the hot tub, Drew listened in on their conversation from his bedroom window. It was at this point that I realized Ashley was very much the problem. The other roommates weren't perfect at all, especially Drew, but Ashley was exhausting. She was a chronic complainer. She didn't want people to talk to her out of obligation or concern, but then when they didn't talk to her, it was still an issue. Listen, if I have to read your feelings every time I want to attempt a conversation with you, it's just not worth it. We fast forward to the roommates getting a visit from a surprise guest, Ludacris. Ludacris came by to tell the roommates they will be working with his foundation and hitting the club with him. Of course, the roommates were hella excited. They hit up the Velvet Room and it's packed. Ludacris is there along with his crew. There were label executives and other rappers there as well. The perfect setup for Drew to put himself out there and network a little bit. Maybe pass around a CD or two. But what does he do? He finds himself a little cutie and spends all his time talking to her instead of doing what needs to be done, which made zero sense.
Drew definitely should have been working this room with all these industry executives and everybody. He all laid up with somebody in the corner somewhere when he need to be networking.
He brings her back to the house, and also disrespectfully, while Dorian was in the bed asleep. Now, there is a dedicated smash room. Why didn't he just go in there? So, it's the morning after. Drew and his overnight boo do their walk of shame. Child, you wouldn't catch me doing my walk of shame on national TV. I know that much. But Dorian was pissed about Drew having sex in their room.
I think that Drew taking over the room was very selfish. I felt like I was gonna let him have this one chance, but if he did it again, it was gonna be an issue.
The roommates meet Kim from the Ludacris Foundation. They learn that they'll be helping a few kids learn how to make safe, easy meals for when they are home alone. I thought this was such a great idea, especially for latchkey kids. That night, Drew decides that he wants to have a little fun again, so he invites his friend Tiffany over. And legend was that Tiffany had skills.
My boy just said that they got meeting. I just got the crazy top from that. So he's gonna score damage, right?
Drew hadn't even washed his sheets from the last love session he had hours ago. But yet and still, child, you know what they did.
Yeah.
This time, Dorian did not want front row seats to Drew's sexcapades, so he slept in Ashley L's bed and she slept in the Boom Boom room. Again, they have a dedicated smash room. Why did Drew not use it? And Drew's current actions are proving Ashley's point that he has zero standards. Tell me why the next morning Tiffany had the nerve to tell Dorian that she wished that he would have stayed in the room. What was she really trying to do? I can just about guess. We fast forward to the kids' cook-off, which was a success, but unfortunately, Dennis was nowhere to be found. The roommates go from being annoyed to pissed and then finally concerned when they return home and Dennis still wasn't there. Well, not all the roommates were concerned. It was just Drew. The other roommates were annoyed with his absence, especially since he missed out on working with the kids. They mostly felt that he was grown and could look out for himself. Dennis finally returned to the house, and Anthony and Drew told him what he'd missed.
I'm more or less disappointed in Dennis and his actions. He could be very, insightful to a lot of the kids. You know what I mean? He's been through a lot. I was just selfish on his part.
With Dennis being adopted, he could have really made an impact. His story could have helped some of those kids and gave them someone to relate to. It was a missed opportunity for sure. In this episode, we meet Dorian's girlfriend, Michaela. He invited her over for dinner. Meanwhile, the house was a mess, specifically the kitchen. The Ashleys were irritated about it, and they got on Drew for not cleaning up behind himself.
Every time Ashley L cleans, she wants a reward. So maybe I should print out a certificate for her every time she washes a dish.
Michaela arrives at the house, and from first glance, Drew thinks that Michaela likes him, and he's proven somewhat right when Dorian leaves the room and Michaela swiftly gets up and goes to the bathroom to talk to Drew. And instead of Dorian picking up that Michaela was being a bit sneaky her damn self, he gets upset at Drew and confronts him. Later, while he and Michaela were at dinner, he warned her to stay away from Drew because he had ulterior motives.
Drew knows you're coming over for me, and he's already made it clear that, I think she's bad, I think she's sexy,
He said that?
He said it, he blatantly been like, I like her.
It was he said that for me. See, that said it all. Ashley L's family came to visit her. As she's showing them around the house, Drew is on the phone with one of his friends trying to set up a threesome. And you would think that seeing elders in his vicinity would cause him to drop his call or at least take it in another room. Child, no. He kept talking and Ashley's family heard all the raunchy details. And you already know Ashley's bringing this up later. Plus, she was already upset about him not acknowledging her family when they arrived. She talks to Ashley R about Drew disrespecting her family. Ashley R and Ashley L feel the same way about Drew.
I seen that from the jump. He tried to act all cool and nice with people and stuff like that. No, dude, I see right through you.
The roommates go out to eat, and you could cut the tension with a knife. Mind you, Ashley was already irritated and looking for any reason to go off on Drew.
Ashley L is just waiting for a reason to say something to Drew. You can see it all in her face.
Initially, Drew was making it hard for Ashley. He was quiet, ignoring her snide comments, and even removing himself from the table to avoid going off on her. But as soon as Drew said one thing, Ashley started. She just needed a reason. I get that Ashley was mad at him about disrespecting her family, but I hated how her problems with him became everyone's problem. Y'all can't go up to the side and deal with that? Why you gotta bring the drama to everybody? I would have ordered my food to go. You are not about to keep ruining my fine dining experience. Drew eventually comes back to the table. Ashley was still going off from the time he went outside to the time he came back. And at this point, Drew was tired of hearing her mouth. There was a quiet storm brewing within Drew. He was quiet, but everyone knew it was only a matter of time before he erupted. His jaws were clenched and he had a tight grip on this knife. Yet and still, Ashley kept throwing low blows.
Ashley L's just been waiting to go off on Drew. She's been hating him. So this was just something that ignited the fire, and she took every opportunity she could to hurt his feelings.
Drew finally speaks up for himself. This doesn't help things. It sets off Ashley even more. Now she was going on about his groupies and how he needs a real woman to lift him up. Did she want to be that woman? What was that the real issue here? We need to get to it so she can shut the hell up, because girl, damn. When Drew makes a smart comment to Ashley, Sarah decides to jump in and defend her. Mind you, everyone had been silent while Ashley was arguing with herself about Drew and throwing shots. I found that kind of weird. Finally, Drew reached his breaking point and leaped towards Sarah and Ashley, and the guys grabbed him and removed him from the room.
I just want to choke the out of the mother, dog. Straight up, I don't play that disrespect, dog. They should not have ganged up on you like that.
Ashley still yapping at the table.
When I'm wrong, I'm woman enough and I'm full heart 100% 100% willing to go and apologize. And I wish Drew would just leave. I want him to be out of this house.
Drew was over Ashley and her mess.
Don't you ever in your life try me like that again. I swear on everything, don't you ever try me like that again.
We circle back to the fight. Anthony and Dennis try to calm Drew down.
Granted, she ain't supposed to put her finger in your face. That's point blank. Stop.
You hear her comment?
I hear she keep going. She gonna keep going.
Dorian tries to talk sense into Ashley by saying that Drew more than likely felt ganged up on, though it didn't justify him launching at the girls. Again, Ashley loved to make her problems everyone's issue. All of this could have been avoided if she just pulled Drew to the side and told him why she was upset. Instead, she was childish, and here we are. Later that night, Drew is still pissed. He's walking around the house looking like Jack from The Shining.
I think that Drew has the potential to go off on one of these girls in the house if they push him far enough. I think they pushed him far enough at their dinner table, and now they like thinking maybe we shouldn't have did that, and maybe we should watch what we say around them.
Ashley asked the security to man the door because she feared that Drew would come in their room.
That tried me today in a restaurant.
Drew goes down to the kitchen and starts taking shots, and Sarah goes to the kitchen shortly after. Child, she was so spooked, she held a knife in her hand the whole time she made her snack. She was ready. Anthony and Dennis try to talk to Drew, but he was still not cooling down. But when Drew talks to Siobhan, she's able to calm him down and talk some sense into him. She tells him to be the bigger person and to not allow Ashley or anyone to drive him to do something crazy. Even though Drew took Siobhan's advice for the most part, it still didn't stop him from being petty. Ashley's sister called her while Drew was on the phone, and instead of telling Ashley, he hung up in her sister's face. Ashley's sister called the next day and told her what happened, and of course, Ashley wasted zero time.
Next time someone calls me, they need to tell me that they called. Because then again, other people are not going to get their phone calls either.
Ashley tells her sister what happened at the restaurant. Whole time, Drew was in the other room and overhears everything. Ashley tells her sister that no one likes Drew and that all his friends talk about him behind his back, still throwing those low blows. The roommates were surprised with a trip to London. For most of the roommates, this was their first time going out of the country. Their trip will be for 8 days. Drew had something planned to get himself in a better mood. He had his first performance at an open mic night. The guys go to support Drew, but the girls opt to stay at home. Drew performs, and Dennis is his hype man / dancer. Anthony approved of his performance. But finally, it was time to go to London. The roommates get to London, and Drew was still in his feelings. At this point, Anthony just wanted him to get over it.
He's taking too far, man, as far as like sulking and crying. Like, what are you worried about being in their pictures for? Why are you making that your biggest worry in London right now? We in a whole different country. Drew needs to just suck it up.
They meet some students from London: Michael, Cynthia, Denai, and Keith. The London crew picks up on the obvious tension between the roommates when they go to an Italian restaurant and Drew sits in between the Ashleys.
There is so much tension right now at this table. Drew decided that he was going to sit his little dread-headed self next to me, and I'm not really at ease at this point.
And again, Ashley couldn't let things be awkwardly quiet. She asked if anyone had anything to say. Obviously, she did, and then she starts sneezing repeatedly.
Excuse me, I'm allergic to something. Maybe someone.
The bad energy rubs the London kids the wrong way. Dorian mentions his hometown of Texas and says that they eat everything there. One of the London students make a crude joke, and Dorian confirms that yes, they eat everything in Texas. Ashley, out of the blue, tells the group that Dennis knew a lot about that. Dennis gets pissed and he walks out. I wonder why no one confronted her, or did they not want to deal with her mouth? If that was it, I truly understand. Later that night, Dorian calls a meeting with the roommates so they could get out everything they needed to and enjoy the rest of their trip. Mind you, the London kids were still there in the other room. They were busy being nosy the whole time. Sarah tells Drew that she no longer feels safe around him after he jumped at her that night, and Drew apologized to her. And Ashley, Child.
Don't sit behind me on a little sightseeing bus. You can't speak on it. You can't speak on it because you know no one will listen to you because we don't respect you because you disrespected us.
There's a love connection brewing between Sarah and Keith. The roommates and the London crew continue hanging out, and they even go dancing. Fun times. The next morning, the roommates get breakfast at the hotel. Shocker, the food was trash, and Ashley L. had the nerve to ask if they had grits. Baby, this is London.
You know, we live to eat, they eat to live.
Their food looks horrible. They go to a local London radio station to promote College Hill and talk about their experience. The host picks Dorian and Ashley L. to do a challenge. Drew was kind of upset that he didn't get picked because he could have promoted himself. Funny how he's focused on promotion now and not when he was at Ludacris's party.
I'm so very glad that they picked me and Ashley L. I think that Drew would have embarrassed us with giving the DJ a demo tape and talking about a nympho or a booty talk.
The host quizzed the London students and Dorian and Ashley about each other's culture. They both failed. Sarah and Keith continue flirting and getting to know one another. The London students invite their roommates to meet other London students and experience London's Black culture. After seeing other African students perform, Sarah feels more connected to her culture. She danced for the students and Keith was impressed.
Woo! Sarah's dancing. She knows how to work her waist. She knows how to work her butt. She represented and held it up for Africa.
While Anthony was not.
Basically, man, Sarah's making a fool of herself. She's just offbeat, no rhythm at all.
Drew decided to rap, but child, he chose the wrong song.
Little mama, let me get up in them drawers. Get up in them drawers.
The London students were disgusted. He didn't even make it to the second verse before they cut his song off.
I think the Brits are a bit more conservative than the Americans. The song was a little too nasty for them. They couldn't get with it.
Again, Ashley.
I'm very embarrassed right now. I don't know what he was thinking.
Dorian and Ashley talk to Drew later that night. They tell him they felt that he made them look bad amongst the London students. Drew listens to what they have to say. The roommates and the London students exchange social media info while Keith and Sarah plan to meet back up that December. The episode opens up to the roommates singing the blues.
Got them college hill blues.
The roommate. What am I gonna do? I'm ready to get with my boo.
Clearly, the roommates were homesick and ready to go. The roommates hit the club together for the last time. Dennis was having a grand old time with the ladies. And here's Ashley, doing what she does best.
Dennis is a hypocrite. I personally think Dennis is cute, but because I see how Dennis' actions are, I could never see myself with Dennis like that because Dennis chases everyone and he has no respect for females.
Dennis denies his club activities in the confessionals. He forgot there was evidence. And you know those shady BET cameras love to prove people wrong.
I didn't do nothing wrong. I'm having fun. I'm living my life, and that's all I can say I can do. I'm out.
Siobhan suspects that Ashley L. and Dennis had something going on between them. They were flirting the entire time they were in the house, but both of them loved to deny that anything was going on. Since things were permanently cold between Drew and Ashley, Drew urged Dennis to sleep with Ashley, but Dennis reminded the guys that he had a girl and didn't want to go there.
I think that, if the opportunity came, he would take it.
Miss Roberta, Luda's mom, came by the house to tell the roommates about their next activity with the foundation. She asked them to create past-present flip charts to show where they started and how far they'd come. Luda planned a conference for high school students, and Miss Roberta thought it would be cool to show the students this and give them something to relate to. Now, Dorian took the initiative. He stayed up all night to create the deliverables needed for the conference, while the other roommates went to Hooters to hang out with Siobhan while she worked. The next morning, everyone is tired. The roommates pull together the last bits of their deliverables and head to the conference. They enjoy the conference and even share their stories with the kids. Later that night, the roommates get ready for their farewell dinner, and Ashley has a revelation.
When I say I had no idea how mad I can be, like, I really realized that I really let my temper get the best of me.
Drew and Ashley were able to mend their differences in the end, so now they were cool, I guess. Siobhan says she'll miss Dorian, and Dorian even asked her to move in with him. It's safe to say they got along pretty well, because, child, Dorian gave the vibe that he didn't really fool with any of them. At their final dinner, Anthony had another question game for the roommates to play. Anytime he pulled out a question game, it was going to be some mess. Ashley L. is asked if Sarah is her homegirl, why did she feel comfortable talking behind her back? Ashley's excuse was that she went to Dorian and Siobhan to get advice on if she should confront Sarah about something she said. I call BS.
I don't believe her, of course. I do think that she talked about me behind my back. And for her to be my friend, I don't think that's something really cool for her to be doing.
Ashley R. is asked how many rappers she hooked up with. She only reveals that she dated only a few. Drew's asked if he changes his sheets after sex. That was a no.
Let's just say I got a couple mixture juices.
I think the fact that Drew does not wash his sheets after he's had multiple sex with multiple partners is just the most unsanitary thing anyone can do.
Ashley L. is asked if she slipped Dennis a note asking him to meet her at a hotel. Ashley said no, and it was a clear no, too. But those shady BET cameras determined that was a bald-faced lie.
Do you have a room outside of this house? If not, then I'll get my roommate to pick us up.
I wrote it.
She looked at that note like she wasn't aware of what she wrote. Girl, you know you did it.
And talks about me liking Anthony. Anthony has a girlfriend. You're doing the same thing with Dennis.
Everyone talks about the good and the bad things that happened. The best part of this dinner for me was when Dorian told Drew that he didn't like him due to him holding that meeting earlier in the season to confirm if he was gay. Dorian didn't even want him to think they'd ever be cool. And honestly, I get it. Drew admits that he'd been working on his anger before he came to the house, and he was cool for the most part until he met Ashley. Even though the roommates didn't see eye to eye all the time, they appreciated the experience. It was finally time for the roommates to leave and say goodbye, and that was the end of the season. Dorian later starred on Hollywood Divas, and he now owns the top black skincare line, Butter. Siobhan is a costume designer, and she has worked on such films as Spider-Man: No Way Home, The Hunger Games, and a few Tyler Perry films, and she's also a proud mom. Ashley L. works behind the scenes in LA with Peach Western Photography, and she has a daughter with singer Lucky Day. Ashley R. had a brief acting career. She appeared in ATL and in an episode of 1,000 Ways to Die. I used to love that show. Sarah owns a boutique in Atlanta called So Bougie Beauty Lounge. Anthony is the co-owner of Oak ATL, a local hotspot in Atlanta. Dennis is a fashion and lifestyle photographer in Atlanta and is currently exploring acting. And Drew is still rapping and sharing his music on SoundCloud. Now, while I won't be doing the South Beach season because I value my peace, and Kyle is not about to raise my blood pressure over those damn ribs, I will give you a heads up for the next full season recap. I want to give you time to watch it because I have a feeling that the group chat will be lit for this one. We will be discussing Flavor of Love, child, and I'm super excited. You have a month to watch it, okay? As for next Sunday's recap, all I'm going to say is 1997. This movie stars some of our Black Hollywood faves and 2 in living color castmates. This blind date was proof that sometimes your friends set you up for failure or pleasure. You will see what I mean next week. See you next time, you guys. Bye.